All right, hello everyone. I am going to do a video on division of whole numbers. Now, I know this seems rather mundane, but I thought there's a lot of stuff going on right here, and I just want to try to show some different methods of how we simply divide. First of all, what is division? What do we mean when we say divide? My definition, I'm going to say it's when we separate a quantity into equal groups. We separate into equal groups. So if we're going to divide something by 4, we're going to make sure that each group is equal, like that, and not something like that. Okay? So when we say division, we have to say each group is an equal part. Now, first off, I'm just going to kind of go through the examples that I've come up with. I'm going to start with multiplying, and I'm going to say, well, 2 times 3. 2 times 3 multiplication is just, we can call it glorified addition. It just means 2 plus 2 plus 2. All right, and that gives me, of course, 6. So multiplication is just glorified addition. Okay, and on that same note, division is going to be glorified subtraction. So if I say something like 48 divided by 8 equals what? What I'm saying is, how many times do I subtract 8 from 48 to get 0? So I say, okay, how many times 48 minus 8 equals 40, and then 40 take away 8 equals 32. Of course, you wouldn't work it out like this. This is just to give you an idea. 32 minus 8, and I keep going until I get down to 0. 24 minus 8 is 16. I'm almost there. 16 minus 8 is 8, and of course, 8 minus 8 gives me 0. And that took me, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That took me 6 times. So, of course, 6 is my answer for 48 divided by 8. 48 divided by 8 equals 6. All right? So that way, I'm just going to call that method. We'd never really do it like that, but that method is like a glorified subtraction method. All right? Now, all my examples today are whole numbers, no decimals or fractions, or my answers are going to be perfect whole numbers here. Now, another way we look at division, I look at it, and some other students have looked at it, as just calling it the opposite of multiplying. Okay? Opposite of multiplying. Now, I'll show you what I mean by that. In the case where if I say, okay, I won't try not to use algebra. I'll just say question mark times. Sorry about that. If I just mean 42 divided by 6 equals what? We're doing division here in this lesson. 42 divided by 6 equals what? Well, what that means is what times 6 gives me 42. So if you know your times tables here, you can figure it out. If you don't know your times tables, you won't be able to figure it out. So 6 times what is 42? 6 times 7 is 42, so that means that question mark must equal 7. So 42 divided by 6 equals 7. And that way I call it the opposite of multiplying way. Okay, now moving on. These methods don't always work, because if something is divided by a large number, I'm not going to do these many steps. That'll take too much time, and I might not know my 27 times tables. All right, so there are other methods, of course, and one of them is the old-fashioned algorithm way, which we refer to as long division. Algorithm. Long division. Now, I'm going to do it a slightly different way than most videos and most lessons show. Suppose I have one that says the 392 divided by 7 equals what? All right. I'm not going to say 392 minus 7 equals what? Minus 7 equals what? How many times would I have to minus 7 that until I get to 0? That would take too long. Okay. So one way to do that is I set up what's called a division bar, and I put the first number inside the division bar, and I put the second number outside the division bar. And here's where we do an algorithm, which is called it's like a method. It works every time, and it'll get us our answer as long as this gives us a whole number. Now I go, okay, this process here, where I'm kind of going to be using these steps here. What times 6 equals 42? Because I'm saying 7 goes into 3. Well, 7 won't go into 3 evenly. So I look at 39, and I go, 7 goes into 39 how many times? 7 goes into 39 5 times, I think, because 7 times 5 is 35. 30, very messy, 35. So I go, okay, it goes into 39 5 times. 7 times 5 is 35, and I have 4 left over. Okay, because 35 and 39, the difference is 4. And I put that 4 right here. I put it right in front of that 2. And now I go, 7 goes into 42 how many times? Just like we did in my previous problem. 7 goes into 42 6 times. So what that means is 392 divided by 7 equals 56. Now I wouldn't do that the subtraction way because it would take me 56 times to get to 0. And of course 56 times 7 equals 392. All right. We'll do another example like this one. Suppose I say, let's call this A, we'll call this one B, and I'll say 345 divided by 3 equals what? Okay, well, let's set up our division bar. 345 goes inside the division bar, 3 goes on the outside. Now this one, unlike this one, 3 can go into 3 once. There's nothing left over. Okay, and 3 goes into 4 once as well, but there is 1 left over. Okay, 3 goes into 4 once, and I need 1 more to get to that 4. So I put that 1 in front of the 5, and I look at that as 15. So 3 goes into 15 5 times. So 345 divided by 3 gives me 115. Finally, instead of this division sign, I can use a fraction bar. And this right here, 620 over 5, means 620 divided by 5. Okay, it's just another way of writing it. 620 divided by 5. They kind of look the same. All right, the division sign kind of looks like the fraction bar. It probably is. So I use this guy, 5 on the outside, 620 on the inside, and I start doing my thing. 5 into 6. 5 goes into 6 one time, with how many left over? I think 1. Put it right there. 5 into 12 goes 2 times, because 5 times 2 is 10. And how many are left over? 5 times 2 is 10. And 10 into 12, there's 2 left over. And now I go 5 into 20. 5 goes into 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 4 times. So my answer, 620 divided by 5 gives me 124. Okay, so these answers right here, all right, the only way to get these, I guess, without a calculator is to use some sort of method that'll work every time, like this old-fashioned algorithm of what we call long division. Okay, I hope that helps. Good luck. Thanks for watching.